From Scripps Sports, this is Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
It's a new era of Bobcat football. Tommy Malotte's down in the desert in Vegas trying to make the Raiders, and we have a new starting quarterback for Montana State to begin the 2025 season. Hello, everybody. I'm Keaton Galogly alongside Grace Lawrence as we begin this season of the Bobcat Insider, getting ready for that opening game at Oregon, 2 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff on Saturday. But Grace, the biggest question going into fall camp was who was going to be under center for the Cats, and we have an answer.
All eyes are on Justin Lamson these next couple of weeks, someone who's kind of thrown into that leadership role, coming in, transferring. Expedited leadership has been a big thing for this young core of Cats that took a lot from the previous 20-plus seniors that graduated, guys like Adam Jones, Taco Dowler, who are going to be in those leadership roles this season. There's
going to be a lot of different guys and a lot of different faces, but kind of familiar. There's a lot of guys who are stepping up into those vacated roles. We're going to talk to Taco Dowler here in just a bit. Brent Vigen will join us in a bit as well. But overall, Grace, when we look at what this offense is, it seems deep, and it's going to be under a new watchful eye of the new offensive coordinator, Pete Sturbick.
Yeah, well, what stood out most to me in Sturbick's tenure at, different colleges is, his pass game, is the pass game he brings to this offense. I think it's going to be more of a balanced look than years past. Lamson's going to be using his arm quite a bit more, I think, than we've seen from previous years with the Bobcats offense. But if there's one thing you should never worry about under Brent Vigen, it's a successful quarterback in the making.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how Justin Lamson really starts to fit into this. We're going to talk to one of his A1 weapons, Taco Dowler, in just a bit. There's, of course, the Rutgers transfer, Chris Long, and Ryan King, another transfer who's been here now 2 years, has really stepped up, and he's into a starting role as well. We're talking about all of that and more with head coach Brent Vigen coming up after this timeout of the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
We're back on the Bobcat Insider. Keaton Galogly alongside head coach Brent Vigen. And coach, congratulations. You've made it through another summer. We're ready to go. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's on us. This is always a really exciting time of year. Really appreciate the guys' efforts, really going back to January, but in particular since we got going at the end of July with fall camp, and I'm excited about this first opportunity.
Also, obviously, it's going to be a new era in Bobcat football, particularly at the quarterback spot, but for Tommy Malott and the fight down in Vegas to make that roster, how's he doing? How much have you talked to him throughout this process the last couple weeks?
Yeah, I think going back to the beginning of June, I've talked to him regularly, communicated with him regularly. I suppose in this day and age there's a little texting back and forth, but I think he continues to make progress. I think that's the biggest thing. I know he's gotten time in these preseason games, and I think made the most of those opportunities. While those opportunities haven't been all over the place, I think he continues to do the things that I hope are making a mark, and he can make a future out of this.
Well, it's an exciting time for him, and we'll get some answers about that over the coming days. But let's talk about what you do have here. Even though there were a lot of guys that left, there's a lot of exciting guys here right now. And the biggest question to answer was that starting quarterback. We have our answer, Justin Lamson. What did he do? How did he stand out in this fall camp to earn that starting nod?
Well, I think growth and consistency. Without spring ball, it was going to be so much on how he was in the summer, I guess, adapting to our program. There's a leadership component. There's fitting in. Coach Sturbick being able to get him in the meeting room, us being able to do some skill development on the field, but then ultimately how that was going to play out through the first few weeks of camp. And Justin, he has experience. This is his 5th year of college football, so that showed. I think just a maturity about him, and I think as the days went on, I think his level of understanding and comfortability in our offense, continued to be a separator. And I think he still hasn't played a ton of college football at the same time, so I think his opportunity to keep learning and growing is going to be there. But he's going after it. I know that he's worked real hard and to position himself, and I think our guys are ready to get behind him.
Yeah, going back to his transfer process, he went from Stanford, went to Bowling Green for a minute, then kind of came here, which is why he came late. But, when you were going through that process, how hungry were you guys to get a quarterback, just any quarterback, versus we want Justin Lamson because that's a guy you had kind of a baseline relationship with?
Yeah, Justin was our primary target. He visited us the week of the South Dakota game back in December, and the Bowling Green thing was an opportunity for him to not only graduate winter quarter at Stanford, which was really important to him, but then also go through spring ball there. We didn't necessarily have that vehicle here at Montana State, but it all worked out. So I think there would have been a point in time, had we gotten into maybe March and April, that we would have certainly moved away from Justin because he would have been at another school. But it just so happened it was by the end of February I think that coaching change happened, and we were able to turn it around, and Justin was able to get up here and just live here starting in April. He wasn't officially with us workout-wise until the summer, but I think he felt like all along this would be a place he could have success, and I think we felt the same way about him. So it worked out the way it did, which was kind of unusual to say the least, but he's where he's supposed to be, and I think he understands that, and I think he has a few months behind him now and is really excited about what's in front of him.
Right, and I'm sure it's quite the learning curve, not only coming into a new university, but also for you having a new offensive coordinator in Pete Sturbick. How have those two guys meshed, and what are just some of the initial hurdles having so much new operation with this offense right now?
Well, I think it's Pete adapting to us, to Montana State, and that was part of why Pete was a guy that climbed to the top of my list. It wasn't the first time he'd come into a program and really had to adapt, but then also putting his own stamp on it too. So I think that's been a process, going back to the end of January, certainly through spring ball, finding out, how he wanted to shape it, and not getting away from what's kind of got us here at the same time, but taking us to hopefully to another level. And then you insert some new quarterbacks, in that, Justin being, kind of along for the ride for the most part there, and certainly Chance and Patrick being part of that journey too. I think he's really worked hard to develop those relationships first and foremost with those quarterbacks, and then again take our whole offense and say, okay, what does this group do well? What are going to be our strengths? Who can we lean on? And I'm excited to see what that's going to look like on the Saturdays ahead, but really appreciated Pete's efforts to this point.
Well, and some of the weapons he'll be able to use are in that wide receiver room. We're going to talk to Taco Dowler here in just a bit. But before I get to his on-field production, those guys, he had his camp in Billings over the summer, that sort of thing. How fun is it to see some of your guys in their leadership roles going out, being a part of their community on their own, and really taking that initiative?
Yeah, Taco, I think at the beginning of the calendar year saw that as an opportunity to give back, while being able to, I guess, take advantage of his name, image, and likeness, and going back to his hometown in particular, and putting on that camp, and making an impact back in Billings, I think was his central priority, and I think it was beyond a success. I think the numbers he had were way more than he thought. So I think he learned a little bit about organization, a little business along the way, but ultimately at the root of it, just, hey, what can I do to, capture this moment while he's who he is, in this state in particular, but also make an impact on young kids that enjoy the game of football. And then they brought that to Bozeman as well, he and Adam, and I think had a phenomenal turnout there. So, I think that's what this new age is about at its core, and appreciate those guys doing what they did this summer, and I think it really made an impact.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, that this is what NIL was supposed to be at its core when it first kind of came through. And one of the other kind of core aspects of college football is that development piece, right? For you as a head coach, how rewarding is it to have that truly developmental piece of a roster that's coming into this 25 season?
Well, I think philosophically, we would much rather look at our roster than other rosters as far as who our next guys are going to be. It doesn't mean we're going to be exclusive to high school guys in development, but that's a lot better frame of mind when you can look and say, okay, the next guy at whatever position is the guy sitting behind the guy that's leaving. We've continued to lean into that. I think it takes a recruiting process that's very, very diligent. I think it takes a strength and conditioning coach like Sean Herron to be able to shape these young men, and I think it takes a culture that brings guys along from first year, second year, so they really become ingrained in what we're all about.
Well, I know Bobcat fans like to see that, and they're going to be enjoying watching you guys out in Eugene this weekend, 2 p.m. Mountain Time kick. Quickly, just what are some of the things we're going to see from this Oregon Ducks team, and why they've been so good over these last couple of years?
Well, you're really talented. They do awesome on the recruiting front. Both the high school side of things and the transfer side of things. I think they develop very well out there at the same time. They become a national brand quite some time ago, and they've continued to live up to that. I know over the last several years they've become a really physical outfit at the same time. So they have this blend of athleticism that's probably off the charts, but then this physicality on both sides of the ball that truly is what put them in position to be as good as they were last year in particular. So, we're going to have our hands full. It's a program that's one of the elite. We're on a pretty short list, in the country, and at the same time, it's a great opportunity to see where we stack up. And I know our guys are really excited about the competition, the environment, and excited for our fans to be out there and cheer us on.
Can't wait. Appreciate the time today, Coach.
Awesome.
I will take a break in just a bit. Grace Lawrence will sit down with Taco Dowler on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
It's week 1, and we're getting set for Oregon. Montana State making the trip up to Eugene this weekend. And Grace, there are a lot of questions for this Bobcat team going in, but it seems like we've got some sure answers, one of which is going to be Taco Dowler out of Billings.
Yeah, he became kind of like Mr. Reliable last season. He's an All-American punt returner, but as a receiver, he really flashed last year, was one of Malot's best weapons. I can't wait to see him really hone in on that role this season.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see how he answers some of these questions, but the nice thing for Taco Dowler is he's not going to have to do this all by himself. He's got the deep receiver room, which we talked about. Adam Jones looks primed for a big year. Julius Davis looks primed for a big year. And the tight end group looks really strong as well. All these guys developing up and coming along together over these last couple of years.
Yeah, we're talking about the X's and O's, how these guys need to step up into bigger roles. But, Taco Dowler is also doing some amazing things off the field, which we'll learn more about coming up after this.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence here with our first player guest of the season, our first recurring guest, All-American Taco Dowler. Thanks for joining me today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's start with this off-season. It was a pretty rewarding one for you with all the camps you were able to put on throughout the Treasure State. What was that like giving back this summer?
It means everything. Giving back is why being Taco is so great in this community. Having kids look up to me because I was once one of those kids it's surreal. I still don't understand it, but I love it. I love every piece of it, and yeah, I'm just grateful that I was put in that opportunity, that position to have that opportunity by my teammates and coaches and Adam Jones helping me with it all. So yeah,
definitely. Name, image, and likeness has kind of become this Wild West, this landscape. But for you, kind of using it in the right way, how important is that to you?
Yeah, I've told a lot of people this offseason that I think that this is the camps that I put on is what NIL was intended to be. Not necessarily cashing a check to transfer, using your platform to do something for the community that gives so much to you, I think is what NIL was intended to do. So I really wanted to lean into that, and I think I did a good job of that. So I'm going to continue doing that, and yeah, I'm proud of myself.
How many little kids promised to cheer you on in Bobcat Stadium this year?
A lot. We had like 500 kids show up to Billings or Bozeman, both those camps, and yeah, there was a bunch of kids. It was awesome. Yeah,
to see that impact must be pretty cool. And one of those camp counselors was now the starting quarterback, Justin Lampson. Tell us, what is he like off the field in the locker room as a teammate?
Yeah, he's a good friend more than anything. He came in and gained a lot of respect right away just with his work ethic. He's a great athlete, obviously, but I lean more towards him as a person, great person, and going to be a lifelong friend for sure.
Yeah, how much confidence do you have in him that he's in charge of the offense this year?
A lot of confidence. Puts the ball where it needs to be in the short month that we had with him practicing. It's evident that he's a competitor, and that's what you need at the quarterback position here at Montana State for sure. He's just a stud, so I'm really excited for him, and I'm glad that he's a good competitor.
Yeah, another new offensive coordinator this season, Pete Sturbick, who's put an emphasis on a very balanced look on the offensive front. That's got to be pretty exciting as a receiver. How's camp been with all of that?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've gotten a lot more targets and receptions than last fall camp, so I'm never going to complain about that. Along with a lot of the other receivers, I think that's a testament to how deep our receiver room is. We're going to play 6, 7, 8 players, and we're just competitors. We want the ball in the air, so he's going to throw the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, talk to me more about some of those guys. You got the Rutgers transfer, Chris Long, who's really flashed, made some great receptions this fall camp, and then you got both Kings and Trimble. You can go down the line. Well, what's that room like?
Exactly. You start naming them more, and you got Chris, both Kings, Dane Steele, Jabez Woods, freshman Parker, just studs. We're really good at recruiting, especially for a team that hasn't thrown the ball a bunch in the past. To get these good receivers is kind of a testament to the coaches and how good they are at recruiting and building relationships. So, I mean, just this receiver room is really fun, and I'm super excited to go into this season with them.
And what energy has Coach Sam Mix brought to your room from the running back room this year?
He's calm. He's really calm and doesn't put too much pressure on us, and he's just an amazing guy, amazing human being, and you want to follow a coach like that, and I can't say enough good things about Coach Mix. He's a great guy.
Yeah, we've seen how important Montana guys are to this team and to really this conference with how many all-conference selections there are between all of you guys. How important is it to represent this state every Saturday?
I think it's the most important thing. Winning the state, winning that game at the end of the regular season is everything to us. It's on our pyramid. It's talked about daily. It's a recruiting battle. If you win that game, you get the best players. So we want to be on the right side of that for all the years to come.
And then what can you say about the development of all you guys, whether it be Coach Vigen, Coach Herron, all of it? Yeah,
Coach Herron, another amazing man, and that's a constant with our program. The people in the leadership roles are amazing men, and preaches that. He preaches to be a good football player, to be a good man. So development, both obviously weight room and on the field and out in public, they just all do a really good job.
Yeah, switching gears a little bit, I want to talk about your twin brother, Caden, named a captain last week. Someone who, unfortunately, injury has kind of derailed the playing career. One of the most talented players that when we've seen him on that field. But what does it say, to his teammate ability to become a captain?
That's exactly what it is. He's a great teammate. You can't help but respect someone that's came back from 2 ACLs like he has, and people don't realize he came into college with double knee surgeries too. He didn't get to do fall camp his freshman year. I'll talk for 10 minutes on Caden, but he's just a stud. He's a great football player, great brother, great human being, and everyone respects him. I think you can go up and down the roster, and they'll name the top 3 people they respect, and I guarantee he's one of those 3. So not enough good things to say about him either. I love him. He's awesome.
Yeah, what are you most excited for him this season?
To finally be able to show people what he's got. I've been lucky enough that I play a position that gets glorified a little bit more than it maybe should, and he plays a different position on defense where if you're doing your job, your name doesn't get brought up unless you're getting interceptions or tackles. But I'm just really excited for him to get his and just to get his.
Yeah, and then talking kind of about that expedited leadership that you guys have hit on this entire offseason. When 20 seniors graduate, it's time for others to step up. So how did you see that, transpire throughout fall camp specifically?
Yeah, I think that we did a good job with different types of leadership. There's vocal and there's people that just lead by example, and we have a good mix of that on our team. A lot of us have learned from those guys last year, implementing a lot of their same strategies into leadership roles, and I just think we're doing a good job, and that's from top down, from Coach Vigen down. We just do a good job.
And then, what stands out most about Oregon, the 7th team in the country, an undefeated regular season just like you guys, what are you most looking forward to, and how excited are you for this Saturday?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm really excited for the opportunity. They're a highly respected team in college football landscape, and that's well-deserved. That's because they do the things the right way, and they have for years, for decades now. I'm super excited for the opportunity to go and see who our playmakers are and who we can lean on this year, and how we just battle and compete and show grit.
As Greg Rack says, I'm excited for Taco Tuesday on Saturday. So thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Good luck this Saturday against Oregon. And stay tuned. Coming up after this, Keaton and I will be back to preview that matchup to open the season coming up.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Well, Bobcat Nation, the wait is over. You will finally get some of those questions from the offseason that you've had answered this Saturday when the Cats take on Oregon. But big picture, Keaton, what are you most looking forward to this season?
Oh, there are a lot of things I'm looking forward to, but I think the thing I'm most excited about is this defensive line. It is a group that's going to be deep. They're going to be running 8, 9 guys out there. They've got multiple Montana natives, including Paul Brott, number 41, and Kenneth Iden on the line as well. And these are the guys who have developed over time, and I think personally this D-line has a chance to be one of the absolute best units in the country.
I mean, I'm most excited for the guys behind them that benefit from them, and I call that D-line, the hockey lineup, because they rotate so many guys out there. They're so deep. But that secondary, I mean, I'm really excited for them. They're young, they're hungry, and they're fast. I mean, we talked about Caden Dowler. He's really going to bring that veteran leadership to that group. So I'm excited. I think they just need the platform they've been waiting for since they were freshmen. So.
No doubt. And here we just spent most of this show talking about the Bobcat offense, and we're both most excited for this defense, which is going to certainly have to stand up big to what has been one of the best programs and best offenses at the FBS level when we head out to Eugene this Saturday for the 2 p.m. kickoff between Montana State and Oregon. For Grace Lawrence, I'm Keaton Galogly. We'll be back next week for the next episode of the Bobcat Insider.